Ooh, and here we are, back again with another speed paint, speed draw, one of those sort of things. Stuff happens when you are mindless and nothing goes through your brain. But here we go. Now the first half of this video is for sure just going to be me sketching everything out and refining the shapes here before I go to inking and coloring. I've tried to speed up all of the different areas where I might nitpick or just drag out in some areas here, so they should go pretty fast. This is one of the ones that I ended up spending a lot of time on here, not because it's overly complex. The sword design was fairly easy to get down first time around here, but it was how everything flowed around the character that just kind of gave me a hard time. So eventually I did get it, but it took a lot longer than I care to admit. I'll be the first to admit, armor really isn't my strongest suit. I try very hard to kind of at least make it look like it's feasible, but in the end, it is what it is here. It's just layers of something on top of something. So, oh, and don't get me started on the noses. It took me forever to get this one to be just the way I wanted it to be. Like so many artists before me, we all have issues with hands. For whatever reason, something will just not look right, and we'll scrap it entirely here for favor of hiding it behind something. And when I absolutely, positively have trouble with hands, that's exactly what I do, and you'll see that here in just a second. For whatever reason, the right hand of this character just absolutely was bugging me. I couldn't get it right for the life of me, so I just scrapped it, since I couldn't get it to work. Now, what happened here is I ended up forgetting about a specific character that joined our party a little late. We'll talk more about him as we go along. a little bit later, but for right now, he just needed to be included. Alright, well that should wrap up all of the character sketches so far. I'll go ahead and switch over to descriptions of each and every individual character as they start popping up. Alright, let's start off with the assassin of the group, Inik. Inik is, well, Inik. The term badass doesn't even really apply to him anymore. Member of the Ghost-Faced Assassin's Guild, he is quite literally a one-man army. His damage output just destroyed the rest of us here. Granted, he went down pretty easily here if you got him well enough. But yeah, this guy is a complete legend. Actually took down a mad champion of a god and claimed their weapons as his own. And boy did he really make use of those. But yeah, that is Inik. Let's move on to Armalis. Armalis is our ranger. And don't let the absolute badass pose and glowing ghostly arm fool you. She is an absolute sweetheart and loves to touch things. Touch things that she shouldn't ought to be touching. And it has gotten us in enough trouble to last us at least 3 different campaigns, which she still manages to channel this particular character, and her player manages to channel this particular energy to all of our games, which makes things fun, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, why you gotta keep touching things, cheese? A good key feature to remember about this particular character, she started off with a giant badger, and that giant badger turned out to be a sibling of hers, which, spoilers, didn't make it. That was a sad part for us. Moving right along, the next one we have in the list is Alara. Alara is our bard, and she is not the stereotypical bard here who is almost always flirting with everything and almost always trying their best to get in the pants of either other party members or other NPCs. No, she actually is a very competent fighter and uses her abilities to such an extent that actually does help support the group. Some healing abilities, but that's not what she's known for. She's known for taking the pointy end and sticking it in the other person, and I like that. Managed to get her legendary weapon in frame, which I really did like the idea of having what essentially was a gilded rose or a metal rose on the wrist guard of a rapier. And this was actually I don't remember I know that there was a reference for the metal rose, but and the on the sword here, but it's all but lost on me at this point. So whoever originally came up with that idea, you're awesome. This is a badass design, and I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. let's talk about Noah. Noah is our sorcerer. A flame sorcerer, to be exact. And oh boy, his past, as far as we've been able to figure out so far and piece together, is wicked crazy. He is a fallen Aasimar, and when we originally met him, he went by the name of Tinderbox. He had lost most of his memories, he had lost a fair amount of his muscle mass and whatnot here, but my character took a liking to him and took him under his wing while he was in that lost mentality. Afterwards, when he found himself, there's a bit of a odd adjustment period here, but I like to think that the two characters, my character and his, were still best of friends. Jax is a bit of a mystery to me, or should I say to the party in general here. They are a relatively new character that popped into the story late into the game, but so we don't really have a whole lot of history on him, his NPC companion, or how he fits into the story so far. But that's not to say that he doesn't, it's just we need to learn a little bit more. And we'll get there eventually. Now, I will be the first to admit right now that having a paladin on the team is ridiculously awesome to have. Unfortunately, he is currently off with let me go ahead and just say this right now. The party has been split at the time that he comes around into the picture. So, yeah, everything has gone foobar. But that is the way things go sometimes. So, when he joins the main group, I have been promised that there will be a lot of friction between his character and my character. Why that is, I don't know just yet, but we'll find out as the time goes forward. Damien, admittedly coming in at a very crucial time where we needed another party member, and he performed with flying colors. He assisted us in many different ways and even sped up our journey by about a month then, which in all honesty was a godsend. Now, as you saw, I did use a reference for him. This is the avatar image that he uses for himself here, and I just kind of loosely based it off of that. There isn't much really to know about this character yet, at least story-wise. I'm sure the player has a very deep, intricate backstory ready for him. I don't know much about it here. I just know that he helped my particular character with getting a little bit stronger by letting him read a few books from his personal library. Overall, this particular character is a little bit on the odd side. We don't know too much about him as a party, but that being said, it's always good to have new friends and learn about them as you go along. Now for my character. His name is a little bit too similar to my own. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it blank, but we'll call him by his surname, Myler. Now, Myler is an Eldritch Knight fighter. He does magic mostly as a means of distraction. He's not very strong in magic, and I usually like to play off that his dump stat, which is intelligence, which is kind of crucial for an Eldritch Knight, is sort of like tied to a bad memory. He's gotten hit in the head one too many times as a kid. But being a fighter, that's kind of to be expected. He recently switched sides in the fight against a perceived evil. Unfortunately, this does mean that he is no longer on the party's side. This came about as a result of two party members leaving him to essentially die. The first party member, Innick, actually didn't do it on purpose, but it still kind of stung. But there's a chance for possible smoothing that over in the future. The second party member, Armalis, however, did kind of ignore him when she had the ability to heal him. It sort of left a bad taste in his mouth, and after he was revived, he ended up switching sides. Here's hoping things get mended in the future. Alright, and now we just add everything together. It was a little bit of a... who am I kidding? It was pretty easy to line everything up and put it back to where it really needs to be. But essentially, that's all I really did here. Applied a background, and then just smooth things out. Added a little bit of a buffer layer between the characters in the background and the character in the foreground, and there we go. We have ourselves a movie poster. And for those of you wondering, this is not something that has gone up on Twitch or on YouTube. This is a private game that my fellow players in our DM do play. I'm not going to be putting these up here on YouTube. These are strictly going to be, for us here. But as you can see right here, I'm just adding a few effects, such as the legendary weapon that Armalis has here. Essentially, it's a bow that doesn't need ammunition anymore and has a bunch of little arcane rings around her arm. That's the closest I could get to it here. But I thought it came out nice. The wonderful thing about Procreate is it has a wonderful amount of brushes that you have access to. Unfortunately, I was still trying to experiment with it here and eventually just kind of gave up and did something a little on the simple side. And honestly, it came out nice for what it was here, but I have to remind myself to get a little bit more practice when it comes to things like the fire tool and whatnot. Now, for whatever reason, my tablet has this nasty habit of erasing a line here after I'm finished with it, which I don't much care for. I don't know why that is. It happens, and eventually I get it fixed. But for whatever reason, I don't like my cursive at all here. So as I keep going forward here, I just decided to put some text in a different program here. I erased the white background, which for whatever reason it just generated, and I don't like that. And then I just added some layers, applied some filters, and bada bing, bada boom, there you go. We have the Lyrain's Game cast, with well, this isn't the logo, but I thought it was fun. What do y'all think? And there we go. That's how I came up with this lovely little design right here. Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like and a subscribe if you like, and I'll see y'all next time.